LootBet, online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the StarSeries I-League Season 4. This is going to be another one of our playoff games. One of the teams will be going through. It's the 2-1s. It's a Danish matchup, Astralis facing off against Heroic. And, yeah, as said, the winner goes through, the other goes into the 2-2, and then faces off for elimination. So it's a big, big match.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot riding on this, and I think either one of these teams obviously is going to be, very much hoping that they manage to secure. As you mentioned, it's a Danish derby or derby. Or I never know what it is, Tom.
I'll say derby. You
could fill in the blank, but yeah, off to a great start.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah, I'm very much excited to see how this one pans out. We've already got the map vetoes coming in. There was a tiny bit of a delay, so we have to kind of speed through this. Not enough time for you and I to talk about too much, but Tom, where do you see this landing? I'm just going to hazard my guess now. I think we're going to get overpass, nuke, and train.
Are you reading that off HLTV? That's so impressive.
Oh,
it's almost
dude,
as if you already knew the vetoes.
Yeah, well, you know, what can I say?
You didn't even explain why either.
No, well, you know,
it's magic.
Why would I need to, Tom? The map vetoes speak for themselves. You know? It's not my ability to reason why. It's my ability to 100% the prediction game.
When you know what they are already.
Well, you know, it's not about who you fight. It's how you fight.
I don't think that's a saying. I think you've just made that up on the spot and is atrocious. But yeah, definitely a decent map pool, I think, for both teams. I feel like the first two, we've already seen Nuke actually go the way of Heroic recently in Pro League. Now, it was obviously online CS. It was very recent in terms of like Magisk joining the roster, so I think they will have had a little bit more time. But I still think that Heroic have a very good chance of actually taking that map over the line. And then on Train, they've actually been excellent recently. I do think that Overpass is going to be a struggle because even with, as I said, Magisk just joining, they managed to beat G2 on it. That was Astralis, of course. So I think that will be a struggle. But the one thing about these two teams is that they do somewhat have a very similar map pool. So I think that this could be a really exciting game. And the one thing I always love is, even though these two teams are not necessarily close in like where they're expected to be, sort of in the rankings or the world rankings, because they are sort of like, well, obviously local to each other, you always get exciting matches. I think no matter what happens, this should be a great series.
Yeah, no, 100%. But we can hear a little bit more about that from the guys themselves as we head over to an interview.
Hi guys, I'm here with Snappy from Heroic. You guys have a very interesting matchup today against Astralis. It's a battle of the refresh teams. Well, two of them. Give me your thoughts.
We're looking forward to the match. It's always fun to play other Danes, or there's like a rivalry in between. We know these guys well, and they're friends of ours. But we're looking forward to play them, and yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun match.
I think the general opinion out there is Astralis is the top team in Denmark. Do you think it might be closer than people would imagine because of the background of you guys coming from the same country and knowing each other so well?
Astralis is the best team in Denmark. I think it have gotten a little bit closer because Astralis haven't been as good lately. 1 year ago, they were really dominant, and it was pretty clear that they were the best team. I still think it's clear that they are the best team, but I guess the gap has gotten a little bit smaller.
All right, well, Snappy, I'll leave you to it. Best of luck.
So still thinking, or still saying that they are the best team in Denmark. I think in terms of the talent on this team, there isn't really much doubt. But I feel like Heroic, at least, well, we saw in Pro League recently beating them, I think it was 2-0. So definitely been giving them a run for their money, at least. That wasn't long ago. In fact, just 5 days ago, just before the tournament started. It is different. Obviously, online Counter-Strike, very, very different scenario. And I do think Astralis are definitely the favourites going into this one. Both teams with a new player in the mix. I think Magisk obviously being probably one of the hot topics. Maybe, obviously, a bit of a surprise, not only for him, not only for us, but also for Astralis, because they didn't actually know that they were going to need a new player, because Kyobi leaving was somewhat of a surprise to them.
Yeah, well, you know, Tom, that's just how life is sometimes.
Are you just going to plow out some cliches today?
You know,
life is full of surprises.
You know, you think everything's going fine, and then suddenly, you know, life just throws a curveball at you.
And
but
he's
Astralis, they've dusted themselves off, and they've brought a new man in, and Magisk is the man to fill the boots. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how this all pans out. Of course. He used to be, well, on Optic, but then prior to that, North. Obviously, you know, while he was on that kind of Optic experiment, you know, I don't really think they did too much notable.
Well, it was, I think it was the whole, like, minor sort of process that it didn't go too well for them. They were expected to at least get to the major qualifier, or what is now the major, however you look at it. But and then they had that sort of close series towards the end and ended up going out. And that was sort of the point where everybody went, oh. That's a bit disappointing, isn't it? Yeah. And lots of people wanted them to still be in, like, the qualifier and stuff, but it didn't really happen. Either way, we've got another video we've already seen from Heroic. So, of course, it's going to be Parla with Astralis.
What is going on, everybody? I'm here with my good friend, Nikolai Device. How's it going?
It's really good. I'm looking forward to playing against Heroic. Just in the zone.
Yeah, so it's a Danish derby. You know, it's Astralis, your team, going up against Heroic. What does that mean on a personal level and as a team?
Yeah, obviously, it means a lot to both us and them. We lost against them recently in ESL Pro League, and I think that we just want to show that that was kind of a fluke. We feel really strong with our new lineup, with Megas coming into the team. So, yeah, we're just going to go out and play our own game, and hopefully we'll be good enough to beat them.
And overall, playing this first tournament with Magisk, are you know, feeling like he's fitting in well?
Yeah, we're fitting, he's fitting in really well with the team. Obviously, it's always there's always a lot of stress when you have a new player on the team because there's so many situations you haven't been in, and I would say we're dealing with them quite well. We're just looking forward to playing more games and showing what we're capable of.
Awesome. And everything with you personally, is it good? Are you well at the moment, and everything at the tournament, you know, good in a sense for all things Nikolai?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Actually, it's the first time I'm doing this well in a long time. So I'm just looking forward to now actually have 100% focus on the game, right? And just not have any pain and stuff like that. But yeah, all in all, the tournament has been really great for us, and we're just happy to be here, and we're just gonna show that we've worked hard and that the major was not the real Astralis.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see you doing so well, and best of luck.
Yeah, well, referencing, of course, the fact that they did lose in those Pro League matches. As I said, I think this could be a different scenario, but I'm hoping that we get to see all 3 maps. I do think that in terms of Nuke, it's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, both teams with a new player. I actually used to really enjoy the sort of, Dignitas / North roster when Magisk was in there, and I think he was an excellent player on Nuke. He used to play on ramp and pretty much could hold it down on his own. So I do think that he could be a great addition. It just depends how they're actually planning on utilizing him in these scenarios, what sort of roles he's going to be playing. Of course, there's a lot of star potential on that Danish roster, and well, all I can really say is I'm really looking forward to this series. Obviously, 3 maps. Well, I don't think we've seen too much of. I think we've seen so much Inferno. We've seen a lot of Cobble. I think we've had 1 Nuke. I'm not even sure we've commentated an Overpass.
No, we haven't, Tom. And I tell you what, it's a damn shame because it's probably one of my favorite maps in the map pool, if not my favorite. So I'm very excited as we head into this as our first map now. If it came in at the as our third and we never got there, I'd be very upset, especially because I want this to go to 3 maps anyway. I think we have a nice map pool today. We've got Overpass, Nuke, and Train. Now, one of them isn't so great, but it's all good, Heroic. They're
Which
just
one
throwing
is that?
in.
I really like Train.
But, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping it goes the distance because Train is actually my favorite map, and it's also, I think, the same for Heroic. They've looked very, very good in this tournament so far on that map. I will say one of the teams that we saw them play against was Tyloo, and Tyloo don't play Train, so it's somewhat hard to gauge how well Rubino will fit in a lot of these scenarios, because a lot of the matchup that we've actually seen them win have been ones that is somewhat expected. Either way, we are going into our 9th round now, and obviously both teams going to be wanting to start out on that CT side. A map very important for rotation. And that's actually the thing that is quite interesting, that obviously both of these teams have pretty much stuck to the map pool with the changes they've made. We haven't seen anything insane in terms of them trying out new stuff at these events. And I don't know. I think that all the maps that are in this map pool, maybe not so much with Train, but definitely Overpass and Nuke, rotations are so important. Communication is massive. On Nuke, obviously switching up towards the A and B side, how you control outside is huge. On Overpass, you've got quick rotations for both the CT and T side. And one of the things, obviously, we're talking to Peacemaker, he was saying that he thinks it's going to, obviously Rubino recently played for Astralis as well, and he was saying that he thinks it's going to be much more difficult for him to adapt to sort of Snappy's way of playing, because the way Snappy likes to play is sort of very regimented. He likes to know everybody beforehand to know what they're doing, so that if he calls a certain strategy, he doesn't have to explain stuff, he doesn't have to go into it. He expects all of his players to be ready to go with this strat, whereas according to Peacemaker, at least, he believes that Astralis are a little bit more on the fly. They'll have some more sort of basic strategies, and there's a lot of, obviously, there's a lot of individual firepower to drag them through. So I will be interested to see, within this game, if we do see Rubino, which Rubino will we see? Will we see him the one from, day 1, where I think he had some, what was it, a 0.2 rate? It was something absolutely ridiculous. He barely managed to even get onto the map.
Oh, yeah, no. That was a dark time for Heroic.
Obviously he came back from them in the next couple of days, but they're now facing off against Astralis. He can't have a slow start. He can't have one of those games. And Rubino has been a player to be a bit hit and miss in the past, but that was extreme levels of just oh, wow, it doesn't even seem like he's been in this team at all, which... If that's the case, Astralis will destroy them, because obviously they won't be able to just play with a man down. The other thing as well is, in the game versus Tyloo, they gave them way too many chances and made way too many mistakes. They were 5 rounds down when they made a 7-round comeback to win the map. And if you give that sort of room to Astralis, they're not going to make those same sort of mistakes. They're a very experienced team. They are one of the best teams in the world. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about when it comes to Heroic, that if some of their stars get off to a slow start, Yugi was one of them, very slow into the game, they're not going to get the same sort of forgiveness that Tyloo gave them, where it's all right, guys, we'll start making some mistakes now, let you back into the game. Astralis will just win.
Yeah, and I think for Astralis, this takes on, so much of a deeper meaning for them, just because they've kind of been a bit down on their luck lately. Obviously we had Device having a step out for quite a few games, and then with the roster change coming in, now bringing Magisk in, they've kind of, they were the Danish giants who kind of brought to their knees for a while, just by an unfortunate couple of events back to back. And And now I think, you know, this is one that they're really going to be focusing on just to kind of show everyone, like, you know, we had our quiet period. Admittedly, Device wasn't around. And now they're here to prove something.
Yeah, and also there was the whole, like, AWP switch thing that seemed a little bit weird. But, no, I think as well, like, a lot of the stuff around Kirby, I don't think, like, Magic's being brought into the team is really a problem for them. I'm not... Like, people, I remember, like, people saying there wasn't going to be a change. Obviously, there ended up being one. But I don't think they've come out of it any worse for wear. If anything, Magic is probably going to be in there hungry for victory. Whereas, I don't want to say Kirby was content. Obviously, he wasn't because he left. But it means that he wasn't happy in that situation. Whereas, I'm sure Magic's going into this is going to be ready and raring to go. So, if anything, I think that for both teams, North and Astralis, this is going to end up as a positive. It's just... whether or not it can be the case. We saw the same with sort of Nico leaving. Like, it was a big player leaving Mouse. Mouse came out stronger, so did FaZe.
Yeah, so I think I have to agree with you, Tom. But us, you know, talking is all over as we head into the, well, to a capacity. We're just going to leave you guys with the gameplay. No, as much as I'm sure people would love that. Device. He certainly isn't loving the dig right now. And oh, look at this. Snappy. They're just charging in, rushing in towards this A bomb site. Glaive and Magisk are going to be here. And Glaive, woo! Glaive is spicy in with 3 massive frags. And blink of an eye, it's all on Nico. It was looking so good for Heroic there. But Glaive, the dream killer. Now he's gone ahead and left this all on Nico. 1 versus 3. He's sneaking in from B. Going to be able to spot out Magisk, so he has found one. Zipex and Glaive still alive for Astralis. Bombs down. Nico going to start to make his way into the site. Glaive peeks out. Nico going to back away. He's got plenty of time. He's going to start to rotate into B. Now looking to try and get this bomb down, win it out in the 1 versus 2.
Yeah, just going to throw the Molotov in over towards short. Doesn't know where his opponents are. Handle the utility, so that's at least going to net them a bomb plant. More than they probably should have got in this round, but Glaive very quick to make sure nothing more comes of it. Astralis, they'll get themselves that pistol. Glaive with 4 kills is a big, big start as well. But at least there's something here for the T side. I don't think, considering where that bomb was, the fact that Nico manages to get a kill and get it down is actually somewhat impressive. And, oh, here we go. Glaive just ripping heads off early in that round. Impressive start. And now we're just going to see some minute investments from Heroic. They're going to save up for those AK-47s. Yugi and Nico both picking up Deagles. Of course, there's not going to be much of a chance for an AWP for Yugi this early on in the game, but they will have the advantage when it comes to the next buy. And it's worth noting that the CT side have gone very heavy on SMGs. There's 4, in fact, coming in this round. They get an awful lot of utility, and Magisk will still have a rifle, but it's more for the next round, where they're either going to have to upgrade straight away, leaving them without much money. If they do then lose the round, they'll get reset. Or they're just going to have to try and fight around with SMGs, and because the bomb went down, they're not going to have that same amount of time to actually build up the extra cash. Of course, if they make it work, they make a hell of a lot of money and can then pick up some AKs, but it's a risk that Astralis are taking. This round at least, as I said, not much invested. Good chance to actually make some cash, although the person they're pushing into is actually Magisk with the rifle, the one person without an SMG, and he's just going to start farming up players.
Yeah, that Device is here. He's going to be able to get himself one. They do lose Magisk. That's it for them. Annoyingly, it's the rifle that goes down. It's going to be picked up by Glaive. Astralis in with their second. Now the buy comes in for Heroic, and Device is going to be on that AWP nice and early, while the rest of the team stay on these SMGs. You have Device and Glaive with the AWP and the rifle. And I always love watching Device on this map. So I'm excited to see what he gets up to with the AWP. He's going to be taking it over here towards long. And initially, Heroic going to be showing 3 players over here in mid. They do not have an AWP. They don't have much utility either. 5 smokes, 1 flash, 1 Molotov. That's all they have to work with here. Just going to be holding close in the toilets. Device has been able to open up. That's Yugi down. Man advantage taken for Astralis, and that's forced Heroic's hand. Down towards connector. They don't want to run into that AWP. 2 players out over towards pit as well. But the bomb now rotating away. Towards pit. What am I about? T-spawn.
Magic's actually playing very close at the moment, trying to utilize that SMG where it is more valuable. Almost gets caught with an nade in hand and actually wins the second duel already. That's an AK dropped. T-side yet to really take too much control. They've gone through the connector. They're going to go back towards the spawn. Trying to build in towards his B site. Nice shot from Modi, and a second as well. Double opener onto the site. Going to leave nobody else here. Device will round towards heaven. And Modi's going to try and get aggressive. Glaive is just around the corner, spotted out as well. Modi with a miss spray, and that means Glaive has found a way back in, and Nico's burnt down to just 3 HP. Multiple players here now for the CT side. However, another kill comes in. Rubino left into the 1 versus 1 with Glaive. He's been great so far, pushing back in, hasn't spotted his opponent, looking to try and cross back over. Has the kit, peeks out, but Rubino doubles down. Heroic will take themselves around, and a little bit of BM.
You'd love to see that,
It's
Tom.
also the one Norwegian among the sea of Danes. Well, I suppose there's a Swede as well.
Yeah,
there's a Swede as well, but it's not as good for the storyline, so I'm just going to say among the sea of Danes. It does mean, however, CT side, as said, because they had all of those SMGs in, they're not actually going to be able to afford to rebuy in this scenario. They didn't make as much money. They'll be able to buy into the next round. Although, Device, because he bought that AWP, only has 1,600 in the bank. So he'll be skimping a little bit. And this is the chance to tease, to have a clean round. That's what they need to do. They want to build up some cash here. Losing too many players. There's only a couple of CZs and a Deagle, so I really don't want to give anything over to Astralis. There's a complete stack of the B site as well. There are a couple of Ts just around this short area. The bomb making its way through the playground, so once they clear long, it should give a bit of information. Device not spotting anybody early. He's going to start rotating back and looking like the stack may switch its spot. Or at least have a little bit of information play over towards that A site, just to make sure that when they do have this stack in play, it's in the right place. It normally helps.
So Magisk and Device both pushing down along. Glaive going to go ahead and start to work his way up through mid as well. You can see Zipex rotating off of that B bomb site, leaving Dupree here alone. They're going to go ahead and flash over, and actually Magisk tries to peek past the flash. He has dinked down Yugi. Device going to fall as well as Rubino is in with 2. Glaive does what he can down in mid. It does all fall on to Dupree, but he's got the Deagle, and this man, well, he's done some pretty insane stuff with the Deagle in the past. Can't deny the bomb plant. 3 of these players are tagged low. But Dupree just looked to play things safe, and much to his disappointment, you'd imagine, Modi is here. Oh. Maybe not, has a change of heart. Tries to see if any players come following him. No one going to be coming this way from Heroic. It will be a second round for Heroic over on the T side. They managed to keep 4 players alive here as well, which is always good. Starting to build that money up early on. But next round for Astralis, that's where the buy comes in.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they actually invest into here, because Magis can drop an AWP, Dupree can also drop an AWP, but obviously Device is a little bit lower on cash, so it will have to be... Oh, he's actually just going to go glass cannon. Ah, that's fair enough. He'll take the AWP off of Magix, throw an M4 back, and yeah, the buy's actually not going to be too bad for Astralis. Decent amount of utility, a kit onto Dupree as well. Obviously, him actually saving that armor helps them out quite a bit with what they can get in this round. And the T side, they get to build up too much cash. They've got a little bit going thanks to the 4 players surviving in the previous round, but obviously before that it was only the 1 in the form of Rubino. He's got off to a good start though, which, as said, is an important factor for them. Zipix through that wood. Finds a decent amount of damage onto the forenamed Rubino. T-side, they've been playing very slow, like very wary about the aggression that's going to come out. And, well, thus far, hasn't been too much. I'm expecting that to change maybe later in the round, especially when Device actually has armor. I feel like he doesn't want to go too aggressive here. We'll be sitting back towards long. Boost will be employed. Xyp9x peeking over the top. Can't really see anything as of yet, but made a hole in the door earlier on. And, well, since retreating from long, the T's are now actually going to go over to that portion of the map, taking control, covering connector 2. Got to be careful because there is still the boost from Xyp9x, but I think Snappy will see all of those bullets peeking through, and Modi now goes for the peek onto the site itself. Magisk, in the meantime, onto short. We'll find another. Leaving it into a 4 versus 4, although the T's definitely worse off for wear at this point, and some late utility being expended by Astralis is going to make things quite difficult indeed. Only 25 seconds left on the clock, and now the T's begin their execute.
The Magisk, I'm so used to seeing him do this on this map. He's going to be hiding in the smoke that's over at short. He does deal with the first. He's going to go down. They're going to keep pushing in. Device will be burnt out by Rubino. Xyp9x is the first man on the scene. He's already made his way out, and Yugi's going to behead him. It all falls to dupreeh, and dupreeh opts to save. Heroic going to be in with the third. Right now, 2 players on the server, still yet to find a kill, one on either side. Snappy and dupreeh.
It's early days.
It is, Tom.
Let's not start calling them out yet. Leave them be. But yeah, Heroic already getting their 3rd round on the board. 3 players surviving will give them a little bit of extra cash, and of course that means only 2,400 will be going into the accounts of Astralis into this next round. So only really going to be a pistol or 2. dupreeh actually has one already, so maybe he can drop one over to Device. And then other than that, there shouldn't be too much investment. 2,900 in the next round will give them a nice bit of a bonus. But as we can see, Heroic not quite content with the amount of money that they've managed to make so far. So they're going to buy up a Mac 10 onto Snappy. And we'll see if he can get his first kill into this round. Either way, Astralis, we'll see if they can do anything with that Catalyst rifle. It's going to be a boost up for dupreeh. Looking to try and take that early peek. Snappy rounding the corner will meet his doom. And, well, it's not Snappy, but it is dupreeh to get on that board. He is still over towards this beat site where the push now begins to come in. Modi will dunk one down, but dupreeh is still here. Looks for the peek, but can't quite find anything. And eventually Yugi's going to overwhelm him as well, leaving just Device remaining. Deagle, Kevlar, and 4 players to find.
Yeah, Device just going to be holding, see if any players do come his way. Yugi and Rubino look to step up to the mark. Flash goes in. Device going to feel that. Rubino finds him. Heroic going to get themselves another round. A 4th on the board for them right now. But now the buy comes in for Astralis. Device going to be back on his trusty AWP. Everyone else with rifles across the board. Pretty much all the utility they could need.
I think this is one of the first times we've seen Yugi versus Device with these AWPs. An exciting battle. I think Yugi definitely starting to prove to be the best Danish AWPer at the moment, at least. And a lot of rumors of him joining one of the 2 teams in Denmark. One of the 2 other teams, I suppose. Magisk is going to be fairly aggressive here. Snappy looking to try and round that corner. Well, actually, here his opponent reloading and goes for the peek, drops the bomb already, gets a second as well, and eventually is traded out by Nico. Leaving it into a 3 versus 4, the aggression paying off. They've got Device just homed in on long. Will this be the crossing of paths? Yugi and Device both just holding the angle, and just as he's about to peek, they both fade away. dupreeh continues the aggression from this CT side. Modi, tag low, will lose his life as well. Starting to gain in confidence and take fights in very aggressive positions indeed, but it's worked out. Only Nico and Yugi remain. Device again. Set up over towards the site. Not really anything to be spotted over this boost. In fact, well, now there's next to nothing as the smoke will fall. 25 seconds left on the clock. Not really much time for the T's to do anything here. I do wonder if they're just going to make the decision to save, because getting into this site is not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's just going to be the save call. And they opt to play things safe. Astralis stand to make a bit of money in this round. It's going to be them answering back with a third. But still able to come in from Heroic, no problem. Magisk is going to need to be dropped. Glaive is going to be the man to do it.
Either way, T's, they're not going to have any real trouble actually buying into this round. You got obviously the 2 save weapons, but I think every single player was actually over 5,000. Let's wait and see if there's going to be any more aggression. Magisk initially flashed off. Quick push towards Monster from Modi. May just try and make a play, but instead baits out a little bit of utility. Magisk still waiting around that toilets area, but it's the early B control that's attempted by the CT side. Just leaving Magisk there alone. So he's not going to go over face in this scenario. Doesn't want to give away too much control to the T side. Yugi is going to go pushing towards long, and they've got the bait and switch in. Now, the position that's currently being held by Magisk is one that I personally only like if you got an AWP actually homed in. Otherwise, it's very, very easy for that man to not either just get one and then be taken out, which, if you're on the CT side, I don't really feel like that's a worthwhile trade. But if you have the AWP, the whole point is the AWP watches long, baits in the shot. Even if he misses, they're too busy watching for the AWP, and then that player sat in the corner aggressively can normally get multi-kills. But straight away, Flashbang comes in, but actually it leaves Rubino blind. Instead, Device is there to help him out, and there is that bait and switch. They even go looking for Magisk. However, it doesn't seem to matter, and now Modi is going to attempt a play over towards this B site. Once again, the clock beginning to tick low. Dupree will be in the corner already, takes one while burning alive. A Glaive with a second. Snappy is the only one left, and he will fall as well. 4-on-4, scoreline equalized. And, well, that play over towards long, it seemed like it wasn't going to happen because Device was actually quite far off the angle. But it looks like the call was brought in by Magisk, and he's able to help his team out. 2 rounds in a row. Heroic, very early on, actually going to be taking a tactical pause here.
Yeah, I mean, they're not content with it, and I think they have a good reason not to be. It's going to be 2 rounds in a row for Astralis. They did have a bit of a lead forming, a nice bit of money farmed up. This will be their last buy before they feel that that reset, rather. So this is a chance to make sure everyone's on the same page. I'm curious to see what they decide to do on the back of it, though. Like, when we look at this buy, they've got plenty of utility. Pretty much everything they could possibly need, and they might just go for a set piece. Looks like they're going to opt to hold this default early on that they have been holding. Modi heads down towards B. Can leave the rest of the guys to secure control of connector. And mid, this time though, Magisk, he got aggressive down long. And this is why I've always loved watching him play. He's so good at keeping you guessing. This time, just as I bring him up.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, just as I say, yeah, I love watching him play. That option disappears as he goes down over at long. Man, if I was taken by Heroic, and they're going to take that all day long. Didn't really have to work too hard for it. Well, Device, he's holding here. He does leg Rubino. Flash lands and everything. Alright, going to start to fade away. Now look to join up with Modi down here toward B. They're going to leave Snappy behind. He keeps making noise at long, and Device can hear this. Zipek's going to be holding it from inside of the site, while the rest of the guys, they've fallen back. Over here toward B with Modi. Glaive. He's the first point of contact. Modi going to sneak up short. The timing's there. Dupree turns away. Dupree gives him a way in. Modi's in with a second, and once again, It's Modi to open up this B bomb site. He's in with 2. The flash never arrives, but Modi, he doesn't need it. Takes the head off a device. Now leaves it all on Zipex. This lurking from Snappy is going to catch him completely unaware. Here's him rotating up. Ooh. This is a situation Snappy was never meant to be in. Oh, it's a messy fight. Zipex is going to win it. He's going to just look to save the AK there. Heroic, they're going to be in with a 5th.
Yeah, Zipic's obviously a little bit worried about players still pushing, so he throws a smoke over towards long. Just a bit of a bait, just in case they are running in. But the T's, well, they don't have a huge amount of money themselves, so they're going to make sure that they hold on to these rifles. The save from Zipix is actually going to be pretty important because he'll be able to drop a weapon. I think they will still be short 1 gun, but it's still better than the scenario that would have been there anyway. In fact, he could drop 2 Famises at the same time. We'll see what they actually opt for here. In fact, Magisk is just going to take the hit himself. So double AWP setup comes in. Dupree and Device, of course. It was actually a point in time not too long ago that, well, actually during the major, where Dupree took over that primary AWP role. So definitely happy to be picking up this weapon. On the other side, it will just be stuck on the 1 man of Yugi. But this round, we're going to see a little bit of a switch up. Connector control, not been something Astralis have gone for so far. Magisk obviously with the UMP, so this is an ideal position for him. He'll have Glaive there for support and multiple players rounding the corner. Magisk gets 1, but it's the quick trade. Will Nico suspect the 2nd player? That's the question. It seems like he does. Rounding the corner, slight pre-fire, but doesn't check it properly. And the man advantage will now go the way of Astralis. And in fact, Glaive may not be done just yet. He's looking to push even further. Yugi has to be careful. There's a man just below him, and Glaive now picks up his 2nd kill of the round, leaving only Snappy and Modi remaining. Now, Modi has been one of the stars of the show so far for Heroic with, well, twice now he's had multiple entries going in towards that B site. However, Glaive currently sits top of the board for his team, 12 and 6.
Yeah, now it all falls onto the shoulders of Modi. He's grabbed the AWP. You imagine he's going to look to try and save unless he can find... Ooh. Flash goes in. Glaive now knows he's here. He does manage to deal with him. Dupree starts to make his way around now as well with that 2nd AWP. Modi just looking to try and save. Looks like he will be allowed to do so. Astralis going to tie things up once again at 5-5. Smoke goes down. Device is pushing this way. Tom, you've got the money up on your screen right now. How are things looking for Heroic?
Oh, abysmal.
There you go.
They've got next to no money. It's mainly just the way the rounds have gone. Obviously, 2 rounds for Astralis, then the 1 back for Heroic, and then losing 1 again. It was an integral round for both teams' money, actually. Like, whoever lost that round was somewhat money screwed. And it will mean that now the T's are going to have to go for somewhat of an investment. You got the Deagle in onto Rubino. Everybody else will be saving some cash. Modi doesn't have anything, really. Of course, only saving that AK-47. And the CT side, well, they're pretty much going to be set for this round. A little bit of a chance to make some money, although it's actually just going to be rifles brought in by Astralis. Probably not knowing quite the extent of how much money Heroic have left in the bank. And as said, so far, Modi has been the man to actually make those entry kills over towards that B site. We've seen twice now, 2 of the rounds pretty much solo won by him. So if anybody was to have a gun, it would be him in this case. Tactical pause was taken, of course, by Heroic, and they've actually decided to just fully force into this. Not overly surprised by this fact, just based on Modi not having any money and a few of the players actually being fairly low anyway. And in the next round, well, they'll only have 1900, so it's important they get something done here. Straight away, Glaive, however, will go aggressive, feeling very confident indeed. Left completely blind, but still finds the 2nd as well. Nico eventually trades, but the damage seems to already be done.
Yeah, I mean, that's undeniable, Tom. Rubino As the bomb on his back, Zipex coming in from behind and Device just picking them off from afar. They've juggled that one AK around now onto Yugi. Flash goes in, always scary. When the flash pops. Device, did he actually just tag Rubino through, through 2 layers? Gonna keep this fight up, but now he's lost Magic, and this is where he's gonna have to fight for his life. He goes down, he's just handed the AWP over to Rubino.
Look at the flank.
Yeah, Zipex hot on their heels. He could be the man to shut this all down. It's risky. He's gonna wait. He plays it safe. He's waiting for Dupree to get in a position. But the longer he takes to pounce, Heroic are going to start to expect this flank. They're set up for it. And there should have been no way for them back into this round now. Pete comes in from Rubino. Zipex, he's gone down. It all falls to Dupree. He's had a very slow start. And now time ticking against him. He's found Rubino. Just Yugi left to find. He's going to smoke it. Taps out the defuse, but Yugi connects the shot, and that is going to be the round for Heroic. There should have been no way into that, Tom. But the second those 2 players go down up on A, that door was thrust wide open.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, Yugi has been a little bit quiet so far, and there he goes, bursting into the map. The AK falls from his teammate's hands into his, and he manages to pick up 3 kills, obviously overwhelming the pistol of Device. And well, now the CT side have a decision to make. Are they going to force into this one, or are they going to save? A tactical pause called in from Astralis. The first that we've seen from them so far. Already 6 rounds on the T side for Heroic, so at least a decent start for them. And now they actually have the chance to run away with things a little bit. Now, in terms of the money, I wonder. Because if they buy into this one, they're going to get maybe a rifle, not too much more. But then if they save, it would be a similar scenario. They'd maybe get an AWP on top of it, but they're still going to have a problematic buy. So they're actually going to risk it. They're going to go with the CZs, have more of a chance of actually breaking their opponent's economy back. The only problem is, if they lose this one, it's almost guaranteed that we'll see 8 rounds on the board for Heroic on the T side, which is a very strong start indeed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for Astralis now, this round is very important. This is a pivotal moment of this first half. And Glaive, well, him and Device look to try and get the job done down in Connector. Nico is there. They're going to know how to get the hell out of there. Well, the flashes and smokes now start to rain into this B bomb site. Zipex has to turn his attention up towards short. Rubino going to get caught changing. Dupree still here with the... going to say one of the 2 rifles, but he goes down at the hands of Yugi. Lengthy flank from Magis could make all the difference. Right now, no one in Heroic set up to keep an eye on this. But as per usual, the longer he takes, the less effective it becomes. Okay, how's he able to get that? Nico's now gone down. Magisk is giving them a way in. Snappy's going to keep pushing on up. Magisk spots him. Oh, Magisk! That's a second now, and now it's Yugi. Back against the wall, 1 versus 3. Over here on short, time's ticking away, misses the no-scope. They're going to keep the pressure on! Yugi's in with the first, but that's it. Glaive shuts him down, and Magisk holds the defuse. That's a hard sentence to say. Astralis going to get themselves a 6th round, and the force buy does prevail. They've reset the economy of Heroic. That is a big round, and a big play from Magisk.
Yeah, I don't know how he manages to get 2 kills there. I think Snappy has been having a bit of a nightmare so far, and he was actually one of the players yesterday who was really performing to like a level we didn't really expect. I think the first half of training had something like 18 kills, and yeah, was just playing really, really well. Instead, he's the second player to push Magis, hand in the kill, and well, now it's just going to be a shooting range for the man himself. Has the M4, has to be careful because there are players now pushing in. He has the support of Device, but well, Device actually fades away, and Magisk falls into the background. He goes down, a rifle into the hands of the Ts. Now, nobody on this T side has Kevlar. They'll be buying into the next round. They're saving their extra cash just to make sure that they can. So this round is all going to be about damage. If they can somehow steal it away, well, I'd be very impressed. But the last few rounds have been like that. It's both teams just sort of force buying. We see a 1 rifle win come out from the T side, then a 2 rifle win come out from the others, but never mind. Spray down, clean up from Astralis. They'll get themselves a 7th, and now the buy comes back in once again.
Yeah, I really like that setup there between Dupree and Zipex with the crossfire setup. Just having Dupree looking down over towards long from short. Anticipating that Heroic, if they're going to play towards B, you're going to have a man in connector who can try and trade with the guy who peeks short. And so they just have Zipex waiting. You saw the door swung open and Zipex just sort of there with the MP9 in your face, having a little giggle and making some stacks all at the same time. So now for Heroic, they've gone and taken control of mid. Zipex still on that trusty MP9. Gotta love him for it. He's looking to make money in this round. Doesn't want to risk investing. The rest of the gang have bought up everything they could possibly need. On the side of Heroic, utility's a little bit limited. They're going to have to use one of the 5 smokes that they had early on over here in mid. And it's going to be effective. It's forced Magisk off the angle. He's over here along with Device. Bomb is looping away. You're going to join up with Modi over here toward B. And now they're leaving Rubino in connector. The pressure's really on for Dupree and Zipex. They were good in the last round, but the B holds have been a bit hit or miss for Astralis. Now the push comes in, and Dupree, he hits one. Zipex going to miss the other. Rubino waiting for this flank. Shuts down Magisk. Dupree isn't able to find anything. Device and Glaive, they are already here. And Device's nade is enough to drop Snappy. He's in with another. That's the bomb. Drop Device. He's up in the heaven. But this man looks more like he's from hell with how he's just tearing these guys apart right now. Plant goes down. Glaive's wrapped around and he shut down Yugi. It all falls to Rubino. How did he manage that? I didn't even see it, Tom.
I don't know how he gets both within the same
what just happened?
flick, but whatever he did, that was impressive.
Rubino
7 and
replay?
7. I don't know. Either way, CT side, they are going to look to buy back into this one. Device will still have his AWP, but both teams in somewhat a sketchy scenario. A CZ for Magisk, well, from what we've seen so far, that hasn't been too much of a detriment. But we've got a MAC 10 on Modi and a UMP on Snappy as well. They're looking like they're just going to pick up the pace here. All of their players heading over towards that B side of the map. There has been some aggression out from Magisk, though, and this should net the information that's needed. The problem is, will it be too little, too late? Debris, he needs to go big, and already Nico takes him down. Now, all the info has been gathered. Magisk is going to be on a very fast flank. It's a stack on this site. Glaive back through the connector, picks up 2. Zipix on the site, sprays the bomb planter, and Yugi will fall as well. Nice round coming out from Astralis to finish off the half, but that was a crazy half in the end. Apart from the 4 strung together by Heroic, it was actually just very backwards and forwards. No team really dominant at all. And I feel like if Heroic can get themselves this pistol and get rolling on the CT side, they could actually take their opponent's pick.
Yeah, and that is scary if you're Astralis, Tom. You know, I mean, they solidified their title as the #1 Danish team, of course, and they had a lot of success throughout last year. Then some problems started to arise, and there were some issues here and there. Of course, Device had some health complications as well, which never helped. But even kind of leading up to that, there was a drop-off in the performance we saw from Astralis. And obviously, Heroic, I guess you'd say that they're the 3rd best Danish team, is what a lot of people hold them to be. I would argue, I'd say they're the 2nd best.
I think if you actually look at like rankings, I think they're 2nd. Oh, it's difficult to say at the moment because obviously we've had so many different changes that to actually like realistically judge any of these teams before they've all played tournaments is very, very difficult. It's just going, hey, let's just have a random stab in the dark at how these teams are going to play. We don't really know, but Heroic, as said, they've had some like easier games so far. If they can take this one over the line, I think it really could show that how much they've stepped up. I think Yugi's a talented individual, and I do think that Rubino's going to be a good addition to this team. It's just only time will really tell. Either way, we're going into our pistol round. Snappy will have the smoke and the kit. We've got quite a bit of utility coming in from the T side. One man holding it will be Dupree lurking, just trying to hold off rotations from the connector. The CTs have gone all the way through middle on the flank. This is so much information, but it is going to have to be a retake of that B site because only the man above will be there to stop them.
Yeah, and he gets smoked out. It's 5 versus 5 in the retake. Device is going to be waiting.
Ooh, they're boosting a man into heaven. I love this.
Yeah, Majeski's the one to do it. Nico is hot on their heels, though, along with the rest of the guys. Glaive's gone down. Mag is spotted as well. Yugi's able to find that. They're going to keep pushing in. Modi gets rid of one. Zipex is over on short. He has been able to deal with Rubino. Device is flanking round, but they all get shut down. And then the pistol round is just a flurry of death for Heroic as they lock that one in. It is going to be an 8th, which now sets them up to take the lead.
Yeah, I like that from Heroic. A little bit different. Normally you see heavier stacks over towards the B side of the map, and that's why you saw sort of the connector hold, the Molotov to stop quick rotations. Like, everything was well planned for there to be people rotating down towards the site, but when really all of them were behind, and it meant that everything that Astralis did became somewhat worthless. The boost obviously wasn't really effective because there was nobody up there ready to kill because everybody was coming from behind. So, yeah. Interesting round from Heroic. It works out. Now they're the ones with the much better buy. Not much invested from Astralis. They're going to want to make sure they have at least a little bit of utility that comes with the rifles they're buying into the next round. Really, all they're aiming for, try and make things a little bit costly. The CT side aren't going to have a huge amount of money for rebuys, and that's why you can already see they've gone for 4 rifles in this round. They know the AKs are coming. They're playing it very safe. Not in the same sort of stance we saw from Astralis, where there were so many SMGs. They're not taking that risk. But that risk will be forced upon them if they actually lose any of these rifles. So that's the main goal. Bomb plant is a dream for Astralis. That's the best case scenario. Make sure you can get whatever you want in the next round. However, that is a lot easier said than done, and already it is looking like a farming experience. Glaive is going to try and push it back on towards the site, and Rubino is not going to allow it. Flawless round from Heroic, exactly what they needed to do, but that was the easy round. Now is where times get tough.
And I have to admit, Tom, I love your choice of metaphor. A farming experience. A traditional, good old-fashioned farming experience over on A. You love to see it.
Have you never been on a farming experience? Neither have I.
Who was it? Who got the kills? Was it Nico?
I think he got a couple of them. I think it was actually a team effort. It was a team farming experience, a team building exercise.
Ooh, over in mid. Yugi going to miss the aggro shot. 3 players have snuck by. And now they're going to turn their attention over here towards long, where currently Heroic, they've gotten very lax on the long control. Astralis, they're going to take all this free ground all day long. Zipex is left behind to watch for aggression at B. Modi looks like he's going to try and go through. He has Rubino with him. Zipex, he spotted this, and now they have a fight to take. You can already see this has prompted the rotation of the bomb back. Going to go ahead and join Zipex here, hoping that they can catch these aggressing players off guard. They have since fallen back, though. Astralis just holding, hoping that Heroic gives something up somewhere. They don't have that much utility. They can't really afford to throw too much of a fake in, as the setup currently suggests. Either that, or they have to head into the after plant with a very, very scarce utility belt. So yeah, Device, he throws in a little bit. You imagine Magisk is going to do the same, and then they keep smokes here for B. 30 seconds, this does look like where they're going to set up. Smokes now start to rain in. They've got one flash, and the play has to happen on the back of it. That incendiary has slowed them right down, and now they have to head into this. No flashbangs. They have to try and get it done without. It's going to be very tricky to get into the site. Someone has to create some space, and Glaive, he's the man to do it. He's shut down 2. There is a player nearby. Snappy can't quite deny the bomb plant. And now it's just Yugi and Nico left. 2 versus 4. They're going to play it safe. They're going to look to try and save, and that will be a 9th round for Astralis.
Yeah, very, very close in the end, and I think it was actually Device who saves Glaive in that scenario. Glaive ends up on 1 HP. Now, the denial of the plant there, that would have been a completely different scenario. He goes down, they're left with, 6 seconds scrambling to try and get that bomb down once again. So, although it's Glaive who does the sort of integral work of getting them onto the site, without Device, that round never gets won. Yugi is now going to be the only one saving his weapon. The rest of the team do have a little bit of extra money, and I do question whether they force this, because with an extra 1900, pretty much everybody can buy, but at the same time, it's the chance of getting that AWP. Rubino already just going to be buying down a pistol, so in this round at least, they're going to be looking to try and just utilize Yugi. Then everybody else will just go for a minute investment. It will mean that they may be a little bit down in terms of what they can buy or what he can buy in the next round, unless, of course, he somehow manages to save this AWP. At the same time, it gives them a great chance to actually do a bit of damage, and he's going to be taking an aggressive peek, looking for the opener, gets rid of Device. The CZ actually nets another, giving them a bit of a chance in this round. The push will be coming through Monster as the T's make their way onto the site. The man to defend it, only with a USB and hiding behind the smoke. Not going to be able to do too much, at least in terms of stopping things, but they are going to try and use Yugi here. Doesn't quite hit the flick. Xyp9x is going to be up close to the wall, so rounding that corner is not going to be easy. In fact, there's a couple of players around this position. Glaive gets spotted out. Another for Yugi, leaving only 2 remaining. Goes for the wallbang, but they haven't found the close players, and the crossfire looks perfect. Missed shot from Yugi. Magisk cleans up all 3, and it's a close round, but it's not quite enough. And now this is where that buy will come back in. Snappy actually is going to drop the AWP over to Yugi, so they will actually have that into the next round. It limits him in terms of what weapon he gets and in terms of what utility they're going to have. But it seems like maybe Astralis thought that that was a force.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's on the back of how much damage was done, or the fact that a few of the players did have some armor to go with it.
No head armor, though, for anybody, so actually that might work out for Device. He still has the chance to one-shot a lot of these players. Rubino, well, it doesn't matter if he had armor there. He's already going to get one shot by Dupree. Opener found. Now the T's can look to relax a little bit.
Yeah, they found that man advantage. They're going to boost Dupree. Oh, Money! Oh! He does actually realize he actually tags Dupree as well. Somehow Dupree doesn't get that. And it's not a flame at Dupree. I mean, the shots look bang on him. But that's just the way. But I think it like clipped onto the edge of the metal a bit. But here we go. Modi's gone aggressive with Xyp9x. Is able to pick him up. Now, Yugi going to try his hand at aggression over here in mid, along with Nico. The bomb, along with 4 other players, is here. Dupree. Muzzle flash signifies that he's starting to push. He does continue, but there you go. The bomb's rotating down towards the B-bomb site. Device is coming in late on the lurk with the MAC-10. Nico's holding the angle. Snappy's alone inside of B, and he's actually able to take down 2, but it all falls to Yugi. He's rotated down. He knows there's only 2 players inside of the site with Device. Taking the flank in. Timing's not great. Yugi's going to miss the shot. And that is Astralis. Now they're starting to pull ahead. And interestingly enough, they don't pick the AWP up.
Yeah, it might just be down to the fact that now they know for sure that there's no way there's a buy coming in for Heroic in this round. And there's a lot more of a risk if you have an AWP, especially when you're up against the pistols. So maybe don't take it into this round. Look to just work with the rifles and farm up the cash with the SMG. And then when you inevitably need it, or if you inevitably need it, then you can go for something like that in the next round. Either way, CT side, as said, not going to have anything. Just a few pistols. Magisk, he has a big chance here to just make some money, but he's caught with a nade in his hand. Push comes in onto him. However, no armor means he can still make that sweet $1,200 off the back of Nico and Snappy. Bomb is going to be retrieved. The B site has been completely taken by the T side. Already have it completely under control. That nade's going to dunk right onto the head of Rubino. More money being made as well by Glaive. And Modi, he's left on the wrong side of the map with no weaponry, no utility, and no hope.
Yeah, and Astralis, they're starting to come alive a bit here, Tom. They're going to be on to a 12-9 scoreline. How many is that in a row they've been able to take? It's this will be their 4th in a row. So money is starting to accrue. Modi is the man over in mid. It's Glaive with the MAC-10. Doesn't want to risk going down to him. He has tagged him, and that'll be the retreat to come out from Glaive. See, any damage he can do here, it isn't really too impactful, but if he could save himself a weapon, that would be worth its weight in gold.
I like that. They juggle the rifle over to Glaive to go and save, and then they give Device the MAC-10 to try and farm up a little bit of extra cash. And also, there's no risk with that push either, because if Device goes down, all he's lost is the MAC-10. Simple, but well, can be effective. Either way, CT side, they do now have a buy coming back in. Now, if Yugi wants an AWP, it does have to be glass cannon, which it will. Utility going to be purchased up on the remainder of the players. It is one of the better buys we've seen for Heroic in quite a while. 12-9. Obviously, the T side with a ludicrous amount of money at this point. In fact, other than Glaive, everybody is over around 5,000. There's a couple with 8,000, 9,000, 11,000. Like, it's just plenty of money. And again, that's the second time that's happened now. Rubino tries to do something aggressive around the smoke, and Dupree takes his head off. The one thing I can say, though, is the nades they've thrown early have done a ridiculous amount of damage. Magisk, Dupree, and Glaive all below 40 HP. There's still a decent chance back into this round. The problem is losing that early man may switch up how Heroic are going to have to play this round.
Yeah, Snappy. He's rotated down and towards his P-bomb site to try and help out. Yugi's going to try and take a peek over in mid. And as some of that utility rains in, he looked like he was going to try and fall back. The flash will seal that fact. Nico's alone here at long and not in the best place to trade. Yugi's going to rotate round. Ooh, that was a flick and a half. Device is now tagged down
That was
low.
4 low.
They are all... Oh, there's Nico. Flank comes in. Device goes down. The rest of the players going to try and split into B. Modi, he's the man to try and put a stop. Down here, over at Monster. He finds one and a second. It is just Glaive left. He's going to dispatch of Modi, but that should be it. 1 versus 3 on 36 HP. This round is just not meant to be as Heroic. Oh, actually, I was going to say, it looked like he was going to save, but he's going to peek back into this. Yeah, tried to see if he could find a way in, and he cannot. It will be Heroic onto a 10th. They keep 3 players live. The AWP on Yugi going to be carried forward as well, quite crucially. They're closing that gap. But now they have the Astralis economy to deal with. It was a fairly big beast, and it still has a few more buys left in it.
Yeah, it's almost sort of like cut off the heads and another will grow back, and probably stronger at that. They're now going to have the AWP in play, which they, as we saw, they didn't save it before because they weren't going to utilize it over the next couple of rounds. So that's now another beast they have to tame. It's been a very strong performance from Glaive. He's currently 25 and 12. The in-game leader literally leading the way for his team. And on the other side, Yugi and Modi both on 16. Snappy's been very, very quiet. They're going to need everybody to rally together here because losing this round could see them losing the map. Would put them 13 and 10, then probably a Force, 14-10, then maybe the Eco, and then, well, we're right at the end of the map, match point to Astralis. So either way, we're back in. Straight away, we see an aggressive push over towards this B site. Connector control being challenged. Smoke will fall down early, not allowing too much presence to be had. And I'm happy to say that Rubino this time is going to be a bit further back. Not going so aggressive onto shore. It hasn't been working. It'll be interesting to see if they build up the money, if Rubino will pick up a secondary orb. But either way, Modi left completely blind. The flash allows Dupree to get that opening kill. They have been slowed by some counter utility, but Device now picks up another. Rubino's also been spotted, and the rotation is yet to come in. He's got so much left to do, and I feel like his teammates are almost hesitant to even try and save him. It's not going to be happening. The remaining 2 players are once again forced to save, and that B site has been cracked open one too many times. 5 players alive for Astralis. A crucial bounce back. And now, well, that sort of awful scenario begins as the CT side only get 1,400.
Yeah, and, you know, as well as that, it's going to be in Heroic's heads at this point. That, you know, Astralis, they can just take B. You know, Tom, if you and I could point it out, then they must be thinking that too.
Glaive probably saw it about 2 days ago.
Yeah, you know, they've been on the ball. They're trying to hold on to these, but you can see that Astralis, they're going to risk everything to take him down, and they know the impact of taking one of these guns away even is massive, but if they can get both, that's the AWP gone from Yugi. Nico's desperately trying to get it, but he goes down as well, and that is as bad as it gets. If they'd kept 2 guns, maybe they could have made some magic happen. Now, it is extremely awkward. Snappy is $1,400. He can't afford to buy next round anyway. The buy that they can get is going to be fairly poor. Nico, for example, isn't looking fantastic, and the pause is going to be called in, understandably so. You imagine, not only does that come down in terms of what they're going to do in this round, but it's rounds to come, making sure everyone is, you know, understanding the situation. But a lot of thought has to go in whether or not they buy here. You know, do they make a stand, or do you just eco, give Astralis a 14th, and then have a weak buy into round 25?
Well, I think the removal of those guns, the only real analogy is just kicking them out while they're down. Because it was already a really, really bad scenario, even with those 2 weapons. That was basically like, fingers crossed Yugi can kill everyone. Like, that was what they were hoping for. And then now it's become, let's hope we can do something with pistols. Heroic have used their final tactical pause, so it doesn't get better from here on out. And yeah, to be honest, I don't even know what they should be doing here.
No, I mean, there isn't really like a correct call.
Yeah.
That's how you look at it, right?
There's
It's just
no
like,
good
what do you
option.
feel more comfortable doing?
It's sort of like, which is worse?
Yeah.
Well, the lesser
And
of 2 evils.
Yeah, they're gonna go for the eco. Yugi has a PT50, but that's literally it. And they're gonna try like some crazy stack down into connector. Astralis, they have been putting 1 man here every now and again.
Not this round.
Yeah, not this round. That's the one issue. But it could lead them to find some success onto device. You just have to hope those players don't get up long fast enough to call that the A bomb site is empty.
Xipix is waiting.
And yeah, Xipix is waiting here. Oh, it's a dangerous game of whack-a-mole. As they all look to come up the ladder, they're going to start to rotate away. Know that that is a death sentence heading up into the arms of Xipix.
It's a dangerous game for the moles.
Yeah. And well, Snappy going to do what he can with the USP. You never think about the moles, do you, Tom?
No,
in
not
whack-a-mole?
normally. They're not normally being shot in the face.
It's a pretty messed up concept, the whole game. But, yeah, Heroic. At this point, I bet they do wish they could just burrow underground. Because they are going to get slaughtered. It's just a massacre. But that's what we would expect.
Yep, a little bit of stat padding for Astralis. 14 and 10, and well, now we get the buy, which yeah, it's not the best, I'll be honest. Yugi could just go for a straight up glass cannon AWP and nothing else, but he's not. He's actually going to go for the rifle. Now the AWP for him hasn't been going too well over the last few rounds. Astralis, even if they lose the next 2, will probably still have a buy. So it's a really horrible scenario for Heroic, and it's worth pointing out that they've only managed to win 1 buy round, and then other than that, they've just been reset instantly. So CT side definitely hasn't been going well for them. And you have to remember, this was an 8-7 half. They managed 7 rounds over on their T side and then won the pistol. So Astralis have just been absolutely dominant on their T side, and I think a lot can come down to, well, not only Glaive just powerhousing through them, but it's been a very good performance across the board. I think Dupree as well, finding those entry kills onto short a lot of the time. Modi this time is going to try nigh on the exact same position that has not worked for Rubino. Rubino's now going to push even further. It's like one has forced the other further out. Much more aggressive stance. But in this round, it's understandable. They don't have the utility to continue to hold them back. They don't have the weaponry either. So they've got to try and be a little bit abstract, a little bit more aggressive. Magisk trying to find something early on. It's a very patient round from Astralis. I think they've realized that there's not much of a chance of there being anything too crazy in this one. No AWP for them to challenge up against. Either way, a tease now with 35 seconds left start to make their move. The one thing is they still don't really know where the majority of the Heroic players are. There'll be a quick rotation as well over towards this A site from the 2 players currently over towards short. Yugi has just found out a decent amount of information as well. This is the call that it should be towards this A site, and he will be spraying through. Only 15 seconds left as the smokes fall onto the site. It's going to be difficult to deny that plant, and the one man who could have done it has just gone down. Yugi is going to go running in to try and do something here, and actually he gets so close once again. The bomb planter has to be saved, but Dupree has done just that.
It's all going to forward to Rubino and Modi. All 3 players for Astralis are over at long. Zipex hangs around nearby. Device flanking around. How's he been able to find Modi? Now it is just Rubino. There's 2 players here. Zipex able to win that out on Astralis. They are going to go ahead and get themselves a 15th round as they reach map point here on overpass. The CT side looked shaky from them. But since moving on to the T side, it has been utter domination.
Yeah, and again, that's the second time we've now witnessed somebody saving the round just by stopping that bomb plant from being denied. It was important kill, and Dupree does manage to get a couple of them as well as they tried to rush onto the plant. Understandable for Heroic. They didn't have much to actually retake with, so they had to gamble it there. The problem is now, well, the buy is that of a jumble cell. Nice shot from Nico. Will at least net him a rifle. Magis goes down, and that's a huge upgrade from what he had previously. Device a little bit worried about any further aggression, but I don't think that flashbang is going to do too much. And, well, T-side again, they're just going to grind to a halt, just waiting to see if there is any further aggression out from this CT side. They've got the man advantage. Pop flash will come in for Dupree, but Modi actually takes him down, gets tagged very low in return, but still, that's a 2-man advantage now for Heroic.
Yeah, and suddenly Zipex now has to hang around here, and you really don't want that, especially as you're just losing men across the map. And they're kind of forced into this B execute if they still want to even attempt to go for this round. Because they don't want to risk giving that AK over, so they're going to start to make their way in. Modi and Rubino here. The B-bomb site has been a bit of an issue when it comes to the hold for Heroic. They start to make their way in. Rubino with the first peek, going to drop the device. That's the bomb down. It all falls to Zipex. He's able to go ahead and take out Rubino and the second. But now the peek comes in from Yugi. That should have been the thing that ended it. They've let him stay alive, but then he gets caught, nade out. Yugi able to drop Zipex. It's going to be an 11th now for Heroic. The buy still more than able to come in for Astralis. They feel fine. They sit on a throne of money, Tom.
Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice. Either way, 15 to 11.
I mean, with how expensive Denmark can be, I know this. You need a throne of money out there.
You just bike everywhere.
I mean, have you ever tried renting a bike in Denmark? I mean, even that's expensive.
You don't run a bike, you ride a bike.
I said rent a bike.
Just bring your own. Fly it over. I'm sure that's cheap. Either way. We are going to have that AWP back on to device once again. Few AKs saved, of course, from the CT side. Meaning that their buy is, well, hands and above better than what we saw in the previous round. We are going to have the push into connector. Boost in from Nico. Gives him a little bit of an elevated angle. Not only towards that mid position, but also if anybody looks to try and sneak out of the connector. In the meantime, the monster push also coming in from the CT side. This nets them quite a bit of information. They're going to be able to push further and further down. And well, because of this, they're going to leave Modi in such an aggressive position. The problem is they're losing map control over towards that A site. Long has fallen. A lot of this is going to come down to this boost from Nico. Can he find anything? I think Magisk may have just spotted him out, and because of that, they are just going to have to smoke away. They are still knowing they're there, but they don't actually know that they've stuck around. Most in this position would just look to fall back. Nico will begin to do that, but Yugi's going to stick around just that little bit longer. 30 seconds left on the clock. Still plenty of utility for this CT side. Looking to flash through, but Yugi doesn't realize they just waited patiently. Dupree again with a double entry on towards this A site. He's been massive on this T side. Snappy wants to try and deny this plan, but it's not going to be possible. However, he does pick up one. It's a quick trade and leaving it on to just Modi. The flanker left to find four. I don't think it's happening, and Zipix will decapitate him with one bullet. 16 to 11. Astralis take their map pick, and what a dominant T side that was. 2 buy rounds lost. They lost the pistol as well, but it didn't matter in the end.
No, and you know, originally when they were on their CT side, I was thinking, you know, we weren't seeing them in top form, and then they get onto the T side, and they go straight back. You know, the Astralis we all love to see. And they managed to shut Heroic down. That second half was a masterclass in how to play this map.
But yeah, everybody stepped up as well. That was the thing. In the first half, a lot of what we were seeing was actually Glaive. I had an incredible pistol and just carried it on throughout the map. 28 kills for him. actually a star level performance. But then we get onto that T side. Dupree, the amount of entry kills that he was getting was just absolutely ridiculous. Like the level of impact he had was insane. Well, here is that pistol round, just absolutely wrecking Heroic. And well, in the end, it just seemed like this T side didn't really get. Well, sorry, the CT side for Heroic just didn't really get going. They constantly had to go for like force buys and saves. We saw Yugi consistently saving that AWP again and again and again, and it just never really seemed like he got into the map on that CT side, which I feel like is going to be a massive part of their game, especially going on to the second map as well.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I mean, you know, this means so much more to each team, obviously, because, you know, both of them being Danish. That naturally is going to make you play harder, more passionately. And, you know, and then there's a lot riding on this as well. Let's not forget the loser. They go down and they have to play tomorrow. They're going to go down 2-2. So, you know, you never want to see that. The winner qualifies for the playoffs. There's a hell of a lot riding on this game. And it just happens to be, you know, the Danish derby. So you love to see it, Tom. I think we're really in for a treat. We've already seen some great CS on Overpass. Next up is going to be Nuke. That's the map pick of Heroic. You hope they fare a little bit better here. And you know, even historically, if they've ever faced on this map, it has been a better performance from Heroic. So I want to see this one go all 3 maps. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that heading into map number 2, Heroic can find some form, as it did seem like a few key players struggled here and there. There were a few rounds that I think were misplayed. This from Snappy is a reasonably good example. He had a couple of chances where I feel like, despite doing really well, there were things that if they'd just gone a tiny bit different, you know, the rounds could have been entirely different. But here we go. Best players, of course. That wouldn't surprise you to see 4 players from Astralis there, Tom, would it? And Yugi from Heroic.
Well, I think the biggest stat for me, at least, entry kills from Dupree, 8, is just ludicrous. Just the way he was able to not only found Rubino a couple of times on short, making similar plays, and then just getting those openings onto the site was so integral. I think the scariest thing for me about this matchup is when you look at sort of the other teams still left in that 2-2 sort of portion already. That's the thing that really sort of worries me. Obviously, you're going to have either SK or Na'Vi based on the result of the other map. You've got Cloud9 still in there. You've got Mouse Sports. Like, there's so many just absolutely deadly teams that if you come up against, it's going to be tough no matter who you get. There's going to be somebody good going out of this tournament. There's no doubt. Yeah. And there hasn't been any easy games so far. Either way, we've got another map coming up. The second will be Nuke. It will Astralis take this over the line in 2, or will Heroic be able to take us to the third? We'll find out after the break.
LootBet, online esports betting. Dota, CSGO, Overwatch, Hearthstone, and many more. Bet on tournament matches or in-game events while viewing them live. Deposit using money, bitcoins, or even skins. Join LootBet now. Use the code you see here when you deposit and grab your bonus.
Don't know how to build a team from scratch or find good teammates? DreamTeam.gg, the ultimate team building platform. Find and connect with new players, coaches and teams. Manage and monetize your team. Get on fast track to advance from novice to amateur and, if desired, to professional gamer. Join DreamTeam.gg today.
Tom!